What is happening? And thank you so much for making it this far. To celebrate hitting 10,000 subscribers, I wanted to give back to the folks that support the channel and support Slanted Ground. So I posted a message saying that if you want quick feedback on jumping, drops, wheelies, manuals, features in general, to send me a video clip. And then what I'll do is I'll provide super quick feedback, and I'll compile all that feedback from those different videos into one video and post it here on YouTube. So that is what we are getting into today. Your challenges and your questions aren't unique, so sharing your experience with others can be very impactful for the community. Now, if this is something that you think you would like to take part in a future video, you too can send me your video clips with your questions. You can remain anonymous if you like, or I will promote whatever you want me to promote, whether it's your Instagram, your TikTok, your YouTube, your grandmother's cookie recipe, your band, you name it. I will gladly promote it while I provide quick feedback on your video submission. Before you send me anything, halt. You need to read below, because if you send me anything, you are agreeing to the disclaimer below, the terms and conditions. You've got to read them, because if you send me your video clip, whether it's attached to an email or if it's a link to a cloud resource, there's something very specific that you have to put in the subject line so that I know that you read and agreed to the terms and conditions below. If you don't put that in the subject line, I'm not even going to open it up. So no more yapping, let's go straight to the feedback. So I've got the hat on backwards for some office action right now. Before we get into it, I do offer this feedback service on Patreon, but I don't really promote it too much because I really think that riders should support their local coaches. But if you're shy or you don't have any local coaching, then I offer the service on Patreon where I offer unlimited feedback to your videos. I respond with videos for as long as you're a Patreon member. The thing with coaching is this: so many people will invest in carbon handlebars or carbon rims, and you may not even notice the difference that they make. But that money could be invested in proper coaching, and what that'll do is it'll teach you techniques and set you up with a foundation that'll carry through your entire mountain biking progression journey. Not only will you progress quicker, but you'll also be a safer rider. So I always suggest that you invest in local coaching before you upgrade your bike parts. All right, let's stop wasting time. Let's get into this. This comes to us from Andy. Andy says, I'm doing a plop on top with a little extra. I would love your thoughts on improving my technique. He also says this jump is bigger than what he is used to. So the cool thing is this jump is perfect for learning because it's got a super long, mellow transition, which gives you a lot of room for error and as far as timing goes. You know, steep transitions, you have to act quick, your timing needs to be precise, or real bad things can happen. This one, not so much. So this jump, this type of tabletop, is not going to be terribly brutal on you when you make mistakes. So this is a great jump to learn on. So let's see what's going on here. Yeah, he plops on top, and at real speed, you know, your technique looks pretty good, but seeing this for the first time, I do see where you can improve, and it'll actually do two things. It's going to help you control the jump better, and it's going to help you gain distance. So Andy comes in, and he could be a little bit further forward on the bike. Now, when you get into steeper jumps, you're going to want to be a little bit more forward on the bike. So he gets away with it on this jump, but ideally I try to say keep your chin closer to being over your stem and your knees over your toes. See, he's a little bit far back here. Yes, you can be far back if you know how to pop and know how to use your bike as a lever. But I don't know that Andy's at this point yet. So Andy, I would say just shift your shoulders and your hips just a little bit more forward. The other thing Andy does is he starts his extension. It looks like he starts it right about here, okay, halfway up the transition, which isn't inherently bad. But what is inherently bad is he's at full extension, full pop right here before his front wheel even leaves the lip. See how he's just kind of holding that full extended pose? What that is doing is it's allowing this, you know, bike length of the transition to control what happens to Andy in the air when he leaves a jump. So he's kind of losing some momentum. He's losing some leverage and potentially losing some speed right here, being fully extended. So because this is a mellow jump, extending early doesn't really impact him in a super negative way, other than it kind of limits his ability in the air and his distance. So what Andy should do here is he needs to hold his compression just a little bit longer. So his heels are down, which is great, but I would not start standing up until about this point right here. So essentially he's already almost at full extension when I would probably start my extension. And right here, so this point here, he's fully extended. Ideally, you want this position to be at this point here when your rear wheel is leaving the transition. The reason why is so your first half of your compression into the pop is going to really leverage the transition and your bike to get air. But then when you extend off of the transition, what that'll do is it allows your body mass to control your arc. So you're feeding the arc with your body's momentum, and what that does is it really allows you to gain full control over it. In addition, it gives you a lot of strength and power in the air. So the first thing I would suggest to Andy is to work on your timing. I wouldn't come into this any faster because you really need to hammer down your timing. You got a super safe landing to plop on top as you are. There's not a brutal knuckle here that's gonna buck you if you land on it. So just slow it down and really work on standing up, coming off of the transition, not going up the transition. I think if you do that, you're going to find that your control is better. Your power input is more efficient. It'll lead to better results. And then as you start speeding up and increasing speed into the timing and the technique, you're going to start clearing this jump in no time.
I need to apologize. It's come to my attention that the comments section of my last video, How Not to Get Bucked, became a place of vulgarity, full of euphemisms that some may have found offensive. To put it mildly, the comment section was overrun with silly rascals. While I cannot control what is said in the comments section, know that Slanted Ground does not condone euphemisms of a vulgar nature solely in the comments when they can be on t-shirts too. Get your Buck This Slanted Ground t-shirt by visiting the merch link below. Euphemisms, is that even the right word?
So next up we have CJ. CJ says that he is a beginner level BMXer and dirt jumper, primarily in skate parks. He's trying to figure out how to gain more height on these jumps. So yeah, looking at these jumps that he's riding, these are definitely steeper dirt jump style jumps. So let's see what's going on here. All right, I mean, that doesn't look bad. So he sent a few clips in here, or I can't tell if it's a few clips or the same clip repeated. I think it's different clips. So let's take a look at what's going on here. So he's actually riding these very well. He's kind of pushing through them, which is safe, and it's not bad. It actually keeps your speed up. You know, if there's a second set that you need to clear and you have trouble getting speed for it, how you handle this first set is completely fine. But he wants to start boosting and gaining more height and more arc. So the first thing I would suggest, just looking at these short clips, CJ, would be to extend your pop just a little bit later. So it's a little bit closer to the lip here. So you're popping a little bit early, which isn't too early, I would say, but it's not giving you the results you want. So if you want to boost it more and boost a higher arc, then it is too early, because what you're doing is you're standing up, and then right here you're kind of absorbing all of what that lip wants to do for you. So we want to maximize what that lip will do for us. So we want to time our pop really coming off the lip. Okay, so know this though, on these shallow lengthwise jumps, you're going to get a high arc, and to really control that arc, you want to pop upward and be really strong and aggressive with your upper body and your shoulders. Your upper body and your shoulders are going to lead the arc upward, and then it's also going to help your body arc to match the landing. So I would just delay your pop a little bit. So I wouldn't really worry about a strong pop right now until you get your timing down. Once your timing is hammered in and it's second nature, because you have control right now, there doesn't appear to be any like danger in how you're riding this. Once you have your timing down, then you can add strength to your pop and really focus on driving that body upward and then down into the transition. It really is not like a muscular effort. It's more of just timing and body leverage, okay? And commitment too. Commitment's a big part of it. So next up we have Jason at Mountain Creek Bike Park. This is a drop that anybody that rides Mountain Creek knows all too well. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. So he's not too specific. Jason's not too specific in the feedback that he's looking for or his concerns. So let's just take a look at this frame by frame and see if we can offer any tips and tricks. So let's take a look. So the angle is going to be a little challenging just because it's low, and I can't see a lot of what's going on before you leave the drop, but you come off well controlled. I don't see anything inherently wrong with that. You fall in control. It doesn't look like you're too far behind the bike, and you land with control and your head is up. So all in all, I think this looks pretty good. Let me just make sure that you're not popping off of it. Yeah, you don't appear to be popping off of it, and you also don't appear to be pushing too far forward. So a lot of riders will come and they'll just, no matter what their speed is, no matter what the drop is, they just push the bike forward off of it. And that sometimes is not needed when you have a drop where the speed is sufficient. If it's a very slow drop, you definitely need to get your rear axle to clear that fall line as quickly as possible before gravity takes control of your body weight and starts pushing you downward. So to do that, what you do is you just get your rear axle to clear that edge. But when you have enough speed, generally what I say is you just kind of get high and then you just fall into your bike. You simplify it as much as possible. When you fall into your bike in a controlled manner, what that does is, again, it's similar to jumping. You control the fall arc, and you really control a lot of irregularities that can occur when you're coming off of the lip. You can kind of correct them when you fall into your bike. Again, timing is important here because you don't want to fall into your bike too early, and you want to make sure that you have the right speed. So, but generally, it's safer to fall into the bike than it is to just use that automatic response to push forward. So, Jason, I wish I had more feedback for you, but I think this looks pretty good, man. So keep at it. I think this looks good, man. And next up, we have Mike. Mike has a super cool YouTube channel, so be sure to go check that out. Let's see what's going on with Mike here. Pump roller set up into a nice tabletop, and then like a little, I don't know what those are called. They're like carved out tabletops or doubles. I'm not exactly sure what you call those types of jumps. See again here. Okay, so I can tell Mike is really working on his technique. Even though he's doing some things wrong, you can see that he is he's a student of the game here. So the first thing is he's coming into his pump roller. He's all set up here. He's set up when he's coming down off of the setup roller, which is good. You don't want to pedal anywhere between that. You shouldn't have to if the trail's built well. He's getting low. His chin's over the stem, which is great. His knees are over his toes and his heels are down. Perfect so far. Is getting ready. He's really compressing this transition, which is good. And his extension looks good. I think, Mike, your extension is just a little bit too early. So what happens for a lot of riders, and it's super common, is when your extension's early, you don't know what else to do at this point. So you kind of let your knees absorb that last bit of the transition ever so slightly. And that's what's happening here. You can see where he's just kind of absorbing that last bit of transition. That's not inherently wrong if you want to kind of scrub the jump a little bit or use it for speed for like the setup of a follow-up jump or whatever. But if you want to like have a nice strong arc, you need to utilize that whole transition. So to do that, you want to make sure that you don't absorb that last bit of the transition. The other thing that I'm noticing is your head and your shoulders are kind of getting left behind. Okay, so right here, your hips are back. And your shoulders are back a little bit too. I would rather see you drive your shoulders and your head down into the landing a little bit more. Like your chest is up and exposed, okay? What that'll do is it just kind of puts your center of gravity, your upper body mass, just a little bit behind where it could be to drive that second half of your arc. And when you drive with your shoulders and your body mass, that second half of the arc into the landing, then you have total control of the jump. I think too, focusing on driving with your body mass eliminates the possibility of dead sailors too. It just kind of retains more control in the air than if you just let your bike have all the control of your body mass of your bike, control the arc. Now let's look at the second clip. Yeah, you can really see how he gets left behind, like his upper body gets left behind and stalls out. So it could be very susceptible to a dead sailor. If he perhaps he may have felt that dead sailor sensation on this jump, I'm not sure, but your compression's good, just a tad too early. Extend coming off of the transition and think about leading with your shoulders and your upper body, your body mass up and forward. What that'll do is it'll give your body mass complete control of the arc. Right now, it looks like your bike has complete control of the arc, and that transition did. So you're going wherever your bike goes. You want your bike to go wherever your body goes, essentially. And you look super uncomfortable here, super far back, hoping for the best. And you didn't get bucked or anything on the landing, which was good. But yeah, just delay your extension and think about commitment with your body mass up and into the arc. And I think you will notice major improvements. So this is Mike 2. Mike submitted manual videos. So let's see what's going on with his manuals. He says he struggles to get the front wheel up consistently and hold the manual thereafter. He's comfortable with braking and controlling it and bringing it down when he needs to. But he says he's failing to balance with his body weight. So let's see what's going on here. Okay. So he compiled a bunch of clips here, which is super helpful for reviewing and providing feedback. So Mike is popping his manuals up quick and steep, which isn't a bad thing, but for beginners who don't have that balance, what happens is you're balancing. If you envision your balance as a triangle, you have the front end of the bike, then you have your hips, and then you have your rear wheel, which is the bottom part of the triangle. When you get it up steep and quick, your triangle becomes this, and you're balancing. That teetering point is more reactive to changes in the weight that's distributed above this bottom this contact point with the ground. Now, when you get your manual up slow and stretched out and less of a vertical angle, then your triangle becomes this. So your weight's distributed wider at a wider point, which distributes over that single point just a little bit better with more control. I'm sure there's some fancy schmancy scientific way to explain that, but that was my quick way of explaining it. So Mike gets his manual up quick and he gets to that balancing point. And the first thing I noticed is his elbows are really bent. He's pulling those bars. And again, it's bringing that triangle. So it's a very steep, shallow triangle, which is harder to balance on. Mike, I think what's going to help you improve, is this. Don't focus on keeping the front end up with your arms as much. You really want to think about sinking down and back and keeping those arms stretched out and the shoulders kind of forward above or in front of your chest. That'll help you stretch out that triangle. You're going to find, now that's going to take a lot of practice to build that habit because you're right now in the habit of using your arms, but you're going to find that you peel the front end off slower. I call it peeling off because it comes off the ground a little bit slower. And it's going to be in far more controlled than just quickly up to that balancing point and hoping for success, okay? So peel that front end off slower. So right here, you look pretty good, and then you suck it up to your chest. And that's when the balancing becomes drastically more difficult for you. So to do that, you just want to think about getting low and then going back in one motion. And once you're back, just focus on trying to stay back rather than muscling the front end up with your arms. What I like to do, and I mentioned this in my how to manual video, is initially start trying to balance with your knees. Bring your knees forward and back, your hips forward and back before your arms, okay? And what that's going to do is it's going to keep that triangle, trying to find balance with that triangle. It's going to keep it extended outward like this versus trying to find balance here with just your arms. You've extended it, okay? And then you're using a lower center of gravity to find that balance. So when you come up, start pumping your knees and have your arms straight at this point, okay? So you can really see how he's fighting with his arms to keep that front end up when it really should be his body weight and then his hips. So Mike, give that a shot. Don't focus on using your arms as much as you want to focus on using your hips. Your arms are ropes. They just connect you to the bike. You will have some bend in the elbow. It's natural, but focus on your hips and really extending backward with your hips and then let those shoulders shift in front of your chest if need be. So that's that. I wanted to keep this one super brief so I didn't bore anybody. But again, if you're interested in this sort of thing, go back to the front of the video where I told you how you can take part in the next one. If I did not get to your video, it's nothing personal. Put it on deck for the next one. And I hope not only the riders got something out of this feedback, but folks that might be experiencing similar challenges. So thanks again. Appreciate the 10,000 followers, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.